back to the channel, guys. If you are new here, thank you for stopping in. Welcome to the channel. My name is Frankie Type R. As of last week, we did 5 things I dislike about my NSX. So this week, we're gonna do 5 things I love about my Acura NSX. So let's jump right in. Let me start by saying this. There's a million things I can go on and ramble about how much I love about the NSX, but I'm gonna try to make this brief. I'm gonna try to keep the video to a minimum, and we're gonna try to hit up the 5 main things. So it was hard to pick the first 5, the top 5 things, I should say. But yeah, let's jump right into it. So to start it off, the first thing that I like to say is the obvious, is the styling of the car. The car is awesome looking. It's timeless. It's just, I mean, it's gorgeous. It's a gorgeous car. It's, you know, real low roof line. It actually kind of looks big, but you put it up next to anything else nowadays modern, and it's so tiny. I don't even have to explain it. I feel like it's kind of common sense. I mean, the car is gorgeous. You can't go somewhere without turning ahead. I just love the way that, like, you know, you got that low front end, and you got the big side skirts on the side. I mean, this obviously, I'm talking about mine personally, because the factory, they don't come with those, you know, big side skirts, but it's got the big scoop. You got a bigger wheel in the back, like a raked kind of look. It's just like, it just does it for me. It's just such an appealing car. It's just like pleasant to look at. It's such a, I mean, the car is parked and you look like you're doing 100 miles an hour. It's just so gorgeous. So jumping into the next thing, and this is a major thing that I really like about the car. It kind of makes anyone who have an NSX want another one or want a second one, and that's the price. Because if you look at cars as an asset, as you should, the price on these cars are shooting up. They are going up like crazy. They always do. Every year the NSXs grow a little bit more, and I mean, there's a wide range. I mean, you could find an NSX that is not in the best condition for around, like, I think 40-ish, maybe starting 40, 50K-ish, all the way up to like 150K, and they just keep going up, and they are, some of them, very rare Alex and Nardi editions, and, you know, super rare ones are in the 6 figures.
I got paper, you understand me?
I don't think mine is in the 6 figures yet, but I do believe that the NSX in a couple years will be in the 6 figures.
Ben, how's business? Booming.
Reasoning why, besides the fact that you can just watch them keep climbing in price, but it's kind of a buyer's market. I mean, there's not that many made. There's not that many even left out there. It's all aluminum chassis, so they were totaling out easy. I mean, you could get to a fender bender and the car would be totaled. There's just so many aspects to it that dwindle these down. There's not many left, and because all the NSX owners kind of know that, they take advantage of it. You know, they either buy another one for parts, and then that's one less off the road, or they'll buy more to hold on to, just to, you know, because they know the prices are rising. So I mean, just from an investor's point of view, it's just gonna go up. And my experience with it, this is, like I said in my last video, this is my second NSX. So my first NSX, I think I bought it for around like 30 grand. I want to say it was just shy of 30 grand. And going a year later, I mean, I drove one of my dream cars. I bought it at the market's like perfect time low. It was a gorgeous car. It had like 50 or 60,000 miles or something like that on it. 50 or 60,000. I bought it for like just 30. It was a perfect example of an NSX. Did a little bit of modification to it, and yeah, so I mean, I was probably into the car for 30, 32 maybe. I think I bought it for 28, I want to say. But super good example of a car, and I sold that car like almost exactly a year later for in the 50s. So I mean, that's a crazy jump. I mean, that's almost a $20,000+ gain, and driving a nice car and a reliable car that I had to really do little maintenance compared to, you know, some of the higher end cars now. There's just so little maintenance to it. I mean, at the end of the day, it's still a Honda. So with that being said, it was cheap to maintain. It was fun to drive. I drove it on the weekends. I had another car, and it was a great investment. I mean, there was literally no negatives to it. It was all around, every aspect. You couldn't ask for a better deal with it. Besides the price, the handling of it. And I'm sure if you haven't driven one, and most likely you haven't if you're watching this video. If you haven't driven an NSX, it is like, I'm trying to think of a better way to describe it than just saying that the standard, there's nothing like it. I mean, there really isn't, but I'm trying to give it an example. I mean, it really feels like you're in like a go-kart. The handling is just so like perfect. I mean, it's got the double wishbone suspension and, you know, mid-motor. It's just, it handles insane. I mean, there's no car that like, and you know what, actually I should bring up a common question that I used to get asked all the time from when I sold my black NSX. Because I had sold my black NSX because I missed some speed. I was getting the itch for the speed. And I sold my black NSX and I ended up buying a Porsche 911. I was gonna RWB it, that was an older one, air cooled. And then from there, that's when I really missed the speed. And then I went and jumped into a 911 turbo, 996, the fried egg headlights. And that car was a monster, it was really fast. But everyone always asks me, what car did I like better? Did I like the black NSX or did I like the 911 turbo? And it was a really hard question to answer because it was just two different realms. And they're kind of similar, but very different in the long term. The Porsche it gave me confidence, right? And this gives me confidence too, but in a different way. And I'm trying to think of a way to explain it to you guys. But I guess the best thing I could say is like, I feel like anyone could do it in the Porsche. Like, most people can get in it, drive it, and like really tackle some corners like good and like easy. In this, it's like, hey, we're gonna take you to the limit, and just so you know, you need to do way more. Like, it's just, I don't even know how to explain it. There is a ton of confidence in there, don't get me wrong. But it feels like, I don't know which one is technically better at handling and turning. I don't know, there's something about this car that like you feel connected to it. You feel you are the car, you know? It's not like in the Porsche, I felt like it was just, I was driving the car, I wasn't part of the car. It was more like a computer or a robot, and it wasn't like, it was a machine at the end of the day. And I mean, so is this, but it doesn't feel like it, and that's the difference. It really like stirs your soul when you drive this car. You hit corners, it's just, it's uncomparable, it really is. And I mean, I've driven tons and tons and tons of cars, and there's nothing like this. And if you look into everyone else that has one, and people that have them, and even a lot of people that have like supercar collections. And for example, like Super Speeders Rob, he's a great example if you guys watch him on YouTube. His car collection is ridiculous. McLaren's, Lamborghinis, everything, you name it. But he loves his NSX. And that says a lot if you think about it. I know I'm a little guy, I don't have this crazy car collection that you guys can take my word on, like, oh yeah, I drive this and I drive this, and this is what I love. But coming from Super Speeders Rob, who has a huge collection of cars, crazy cars at that, and then to still fall back and be like, hey, you know what? I love my NSX. Says a lot about the car. And I mean, just the appreciating value of the car kind of says it in its own, but if you want to hear it from a mouth that has a lot of experience, he's a good example to look at. Getting into the fourth thing that I love about the NSX. If you guys are still here and you stuck with me, thanks. I appreciate you guys staying this long and watching the video. And do me a favor and drop a like. It does help. But anyway, jumping into it. The fourth thing that I love about the NSX and I'm gonna touch on this really briefly because I could really talk about the subject for hours, is just the history of the car. It's cool to me. It makes in my head, in the back of my head, it's a status thing, it is. I'm sure you guys know like F1 and Ayrton Senna, you know, having a lot to do with the making of this car and all that stuff. You know, and basically how it was designed to attack Ferrari and other supercars in its class, and they came out boxing and they were the underdog and they succeeded and they crushed it in the NSX. You know, they set a goal, they went out and they achieved the goal. And there's a lot of little things I could get on, and there was a quote in there. I'm not even gonna get into that because I'll just talk for hours about the history of it. I'm trying to be as minimal as possible for that topic. So getting into the last and final thing that I love about my Acura Nsx, it's the sound that these cars produce. It's a very unique sound. Shout out to Pride exhaust, by the way. That's what I have on this car, that's what I have on my black car, and very reasonable price and great quality sound. And this isn't an ad, that's just true. If you ever heard this car, it is like no other. It sounds so good. And I can't even give you an example to describe it next to that it sounds like this or it sounds like this, because it really stands in a class like by its own. It gives this like crazy exotic sound, and I wouldn't say it's close to a Lamborghini. I definitely wouldn't say it's close to like a Ferrari sound or a McLaren or anything like that, but it is in its own class. It just sounds phenomenal. It sounds really good. I'll throw some sound clips in here. Well, thank you for watching. Those are the 5 things that I like about this car, or I should say that I love about this car. Yeah, let's go drive it.